Hello, I'm Charlotte and this is Books and Bargains. Today I'm coming to you with my November anticipated releases. If you're new here, every month I do a video all about books that have been released this month that I'm excited about. Now, sometimes publishers send me books and if I have been sent them, I'll make it clear in these videos, but generally these videos are just what's on my radar. I try to include books by authors that I have loved in the past. I try and include debut authors that just sound good to me, and just anything really that takes my fancy. I try not to talk about books that are really hyped up unless I am hyped up for them personally, and these generally reflect the kind of mood I'm in at the moment. So there are quite a few kind of Christmassy romances on here because it is getting nearer to that time of year. Those of you who've seen my Salou blog know that I paid over the odds for this in a fit of sleep-induced buying at the airport, and so I'm determined to get the use out of it, so I'm wearing it today. I'm feeling very cozy and autumnal. I am tempted to turn these little starlights on. There's no batteries in them. I was going to turn my starlights on, but there's no batteries in them, obviously. So let's get into the video. So like I mentioned, there are 8 books that I want to talk to you about today, and most of them are being released on November 9th. But on November the 7th is Katherine J Adams' Tonight I Burn, and I believe that this is a debut author, and this is book 1 of the Thorn Witch trilogy. I am a sucker for a trilogy. I don't know what it is about a trilogy that just really speaks to me. That said though, there are some trilogies that I am desperate to start, but having only got book 1 from a charity shop on my list, I'm waiting for all 3. Which doesn't make sense because I might not enjoy it, but I have the Arc of Scythe trilogy to start, I have Ink, I have Caravel, so yeah, that's just how my brain works, but that's not what I'm talking about today. So as with always with these videos, as I haven't read any of these books yet, sometimes I bring books here that I have read and it's, for example, the paperback release. I will talk about my feelings on the book, but as I'm just going on a kind of, I've seen this book, this is what drew me in, I'm going to read you the blurbs. So, Tonight I Burn, like I say, debut author, and it says, a thorn witch with the power to walk between the realms of life and death finds herself at the centre of a magical rebellion and a dangerous romance that could destroy her coven and her soul in this dark and decadent debut. Thorns, tides, embers, storms and oars, all 5 covens are bound by servitude to the tyrant High Warden of Halstead. Penny Albright is the daughter of the Thorn Coven, forced to patrol the Vale between the realms of life and death. Each night, one Thorn Witch, and only one, must cross the Vale by burning at the stake. Each morning, the witch draws on their magic to return. Failure to follow the rules risks the Vale and risks them all. But one morning, Penny's favourite sister, Ella, doesn't return, and that night, determined to find her, Penny breaks the rules. She burns in secret, and she discovers that all isn't as it seems in life or death. Her journey leads her to Malin, a devastating lord with too many secrets, to Alice, a mysterious captive prophet, and to a rebellion brewing in the shadows beneath the city. And as Penny's world splits, she'll face a devastating choice, because it's not just her sister's life that hangs in the balance, it's the fate of all magic. All it takes is one witch and one spark to set the world ablaze. And doesn't that just sound chef's kiss fantastic? So yeah, that is out on the 7th of November, and I believe it is out in, I haven't written it down here, let me just check. This will be out in paperback, audiobook and ebook, and yeah, I've put that on my wish list because I really want to read that. It gives me kind of strong vibes of Her Majesty's Royal Coven, which was my favourite book of this year. And as I've said here before, I'm a little bit annoyed that we're not getting the finale of the trilogy next. We're getting a novella. a novella that I really want to read, but finish the trilogy before you give me any novellas. That's my thing. That is my thing. And then going on to the books that are coming out on November the 5th, and I have A December to Remember by Jenny Bayliss. Now, I'm really on the fence here. So a few years back, I read her debut, which was called The 12 Dates of Christmas, and I absolutely loved it. 5-star Christmas book. You will see it coming up in my Christmas books video this year, where I go through all the Christmas books that I have loved from the past few years, plus what's on my TBR to read this year. Really excited to film that video and get everything a little bit festive in here. But I then let me find out what the name of the book is. I've got my laptop here if I keep looking down. And also my eyes are a little bit funny today, so yeah. Right, so then I was kindly sent The Winter of Second Chances as part of a book break Christmas box, which I just couldn't get into the story. So then I didn't read Meet Me Under the Mistletoe, which was last year, I believe. But I am willing to give Jenny Bayliss another go because, like I say, that first book just drew me in so much and I loved it, and it was a 5-star Christmas read. So this is also about sisters, which has become a little bit of a catnip trope for me. I love reading about sisters. What have I done? I've just had a... Hey? I literally just clicked on it to look at it, and I've just had a Amazon... No, I didn't buy it. Apparently I've just bought that book without realising, so let me... I'll sort that later. So anyway, this says, A December to Remember follows the 3 North sisters who rekindle their broken relationship in the wake of their father's death. Wildly different half-sisters Maggie, Simone and Star have hardly seen each other since their idyllic summers spent in the charming village of Rowanthorpe, the home of their eccentric father Augustus. Known for the fruitful ways in which he and his bustling curiosity shop kept the town's tongues wagging and ladies swooning, Augustus was loved by all and known by none, not even his daughters. Now, years later, the 3 estranged women are unexpectedly reunited at the reading of Augustus's will. Maggie, Simone and Star are shocked to find out that Augustus has engineered a series of hoops through which the 3 women must jump to unlock their inheritance, the last thing any of them want to do. But each sister desperately needs the money, and they are in no position to rebel against their father's final wishes. Spending the winter months at Rowanthorpe stirs up feelings with forgotten flames and makes the sisters confront the lives they've left behind. As old wounds resurface and long-buried secrets come to light, the sisters must learn to work together if they hope to succeed. Sometimes the only way to move forward is to go back to where it all began. And that just, you know that I love a cosy little village vibe. And it just sounds like it could be the perfect Christmas read. But like I say, I do have that little reservation because 1 5-star book, 1 DNF, haven't read anything else. So this could be the one that puts Jenny Bayliss firmly back on my radar. Now, book number 3 on my list, again, is out on November the 9th. And this is a new to me author, but not a debut author. And this is Elle Cook's The Last Train Home. And it says, a gorgeous will they, won't they romance to curl up with this winter. Now, I will say a lot of these books on here have got a Heidi Swain seal of approval. So that always goes down well with me. And this one says, on the last train home, you expect to find standing space only, drunk people singing, the overpowering smell of McDonald's. You never expect to find love. When Abby and Tom cross paths travelling home after a night out, their eyes meet across a crowded carriage. Stop sending me emails. Sorry about that. Their eyes meet across a crowded carriage and their connection is unmistakable. What they don't know is that moments later they will both be caught up in an event that will change them forever. It's one that will bring them together, but it will also tear them apart. A lot can happen in 7 seconds. A lot can happen in 7 years. Can they find their way back to each other? Now, I have fallen in love with these kind of will they, won't they romances that happen over a spread of years. I think the first one I fell in love with was One Night in December by Josie Silver, which does now have mixed reviews out there, but I loved it at the time, and I don't think I'll ever reread it, because I think if I reread it now, that kind of earworm of the problems would spoil it for me. I also loved, oh, what's her name? Eva Carter's How to Save a Life. Again, happens over many, many years. And a really underrated book that I read last year, I think, is London with Love by Sarra Manning. Now, there is another Sarra Manning book in here, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But all of these books happened over a span of time, and especially with London with Love, there were these dates that you would see the date at the top of the page and you would know what happened on that date. And oh yeah, there's just something about these love stories that happen. I either like really short, like one day type novels, or really long ones, which is why I think I really love kind of series like the Heidi Swain series, because I can keep going back and being back in that environment. But yeah, this just sounded good, so I have put this on my wish list. And I don't think this is necessary. I mean, it does say to curl up with this winter, but I don't think it sounds necessarily like it is a Christmas book. I'm not sure. Like, it says here, what happens when you meet the one and you bond in the middle of a traumatic moment, but fate decides you're not ready for each other yet. And yeah, so that is going on my wish list. I don't think I said already, this is out in paperback, audiobook and ebook. I will just say before I say this next one, I've got two authors in here that I'm not sure whether you pronounce their name Sarah or Sarah. I'm saying Sarah for both, but if anybody knows any different, please do let me know. So the next one is Sara Gibbs' 8 Bright Lights. Now, I saw this a while back. Again, it's been released on November the 9th in paperback, audiobook and ebook, and I felt like I knew the name. And actually, when I googled it, this is her debut fiction, but she did write Drama Queen, One Autistic Woman and a Life of Unhelpful Labels, which I have on my audiobook wish list. I like stories like that in audio form because I like to feel like the person is just sat telling me their story. It somehow works better in my head. I do have a couple of books on my kind of radar now that are festive but not Christmas. So this one is more Hannukah related, and I did mention last month Uzma Jalaluddin, and who did she write it with? Marissa Stapley's 3 Holidays and a Wedding, which again I think is a bit more of a mixed culture rather than just being solely about the Christian or, you know, English Christmas. However, this says the clock is ticking, and getting there happily ever after might just take a miracle. 8 days before the wedding, Hannah is stuck in South Devon and her dead-end job. But when her estranged father dies, why do fathers die in a lot of the books that I'm excited for? She suddenly finds herself in Tel Aviv with only her insufferable yet irritatingly sexy host for company. Can she pick up the pieces of her father's life and make it home in time for her cousin's wedding? 4 days before the wedding, more preoccupied with securing her dream job writing for an iconic fashion magazine, Rachel is already a distracted bride. But when an article unlocks a long-held family secret, will her simple Christmas wedding become much more complicated? The night before the wedding, spontaneously quitting her job was not wedding planner Ella's idea. Neither was burning bridges with her terrifying boss. Left with only one client and no money, how will she pull this wedding together when everything else is falling apart? And yeah, it's a wedding, it's Christmas, it's multiple point of views, and it just sounded good, so I put it on my radar. Generally, a lot of these books, they just sound good, and I think it really helps when I don't hear lots of people talking about them. Obviously, I do get caught up in the hype when I hear a lot of people talking about a book, but I like to come across these ones that I haven't heard as much about. They seem to, I like the fact that I feel like I'm discovering it for myself rather than being told to read it, which is really silly because I generally trust a lot of booktubers. So when booktubers mention books, I generally trust them. I'm not on TikTok, but I see a lot of TikToks on Instagram later. So I kind of get put off by TikTok recommended books. I know that it helps authors, and I know that people like their books to go viral, but it just makes me rebel because that's just how my brain works. So the next one is an author that I've read from before, and this probably is TikTok famous, and this is Dolly Alderton's Good Material. Now, I haven't done my, what month are we in? October wrap up as yet. I think it's either coming next week or the week after, but I will just spoil for you that I read Ghosts by Dolly Alderton. I listened to it via audiobook when I was on my commute to work, and I had read and really loved Everything I Know About Love last year when I was on holiday, but Ghosts was kind of sold to me as a book about a girl getting ghosted and a romance in that way. And while it was, I didn't think that the romance was the main part of the story. That's what put me off for so long, because I thought, oh, I'm not sure. I find romance is a little bit difficult sometimes, as especially when they follow somebody that's in such a different situation to me, in that, like, I've never used a dating app. I have been with my husband, we've been together 13 years now, and met kind of just before dating apps became popular. But this book was about so much more. It was about family and friendship, and I just loved it. So this book by Dolly Alderton is Good Material. Now, this is out in hardcover, audiobook and Kindle, again on the 9th of November. And this says, every relationship has one beginning. This one has two endings. Andy loves Jen, Jen loved Andy, and he can't work out why she stopped. Now he is without a home, waiting for his stand-up career to take off, wondering why everyone else around him seems to have grown up while he wasn't looking. Set adrift in the sea of heartbreak at a time when everything he thought he knew about women and flat sharing and his friendships has transformed beyond recognition, Andy clings to the idea of solving the puzzle of their broken relationship, because if he can find the answer to that, then maybe Jen can find her way back to him. Andy still has a lot to learn, not least his ex-girlfriend's side of the story. Now, historically, I haven't read many books with a male main character. I tend to enjoy the female perspective more. So this, I don't think if it wasn't written by Dolly Alderton, who I know that I love her writing style, whether I would necessarily pick this one up. But as it is, I would like to. So that is going on my wish list. My wish list is ridiculous. I don't share it anymore. It is just for me. But I have a Kindle wish list where I look out for books going on Good Deal, and I also look out for them at charity shops. And yeah, it's getting ridiculous. I need to do a cull of it soon. Now, also on the 9th of November, a book that I have already mentioned, well, an author that I've already mentioned, and this is The Man of Her Dreams, the brilliant new rom-com from Sarra Manning. Now, or Sarra Manning, I think it is. I have just mentioned, I have read 2 Sarra Manning books. Both were sent to me as advanced reader copies, and both I don't think get enough credit for how wonderful they are. So that was, the first one was Rescue Me, where I like these kind of dual narrative romances as well, and this is definitely up there with my favourites of those. And this follows our 2 main characters who share a rescue dog, and then London with Love that I've already raved about. Now, I did get an email this morning asking me if I wanted to be on the blog tour for this, so I should be getting a copy of this to read and review on my Instagram/here. But at the time of putting this on my radar, I hadn't been offered that, so whether I need to disclose that as gifted or not, I don't know, because I don't actually have it yet. They haven't confirmed that I will be on the blog tour. I've just had an email this morning asking me if I would like to be. However, again, this has been loved by Cressida McLaughlin. You all know that I absolutely love her Cornish cream tea series. And so this says, is he too good to be true? Meet Theo, handsome, sexy, funny, kind, and he can cook. He's literally the man of Esme's dreams, but Esme's sensible enough to know that you can't just manifest your perfect boyfriend, then have him turn up on your doorstep. Or can you? And that's all I need to know. And I mean, Louise O'Neill, who is again one of my top tier favourite Instabuy authors, has said that this is wonderful, romantic, sexy, moving and impossible to put down. I think this was the one that had Cressida McLaughlin crying on her Instagram stories, and so if I don't get a spot on the blog tour, I will definitely try and get to this one soon. Also on the 9th of November, and also in hardcover, audiobook and ebook, is Jo Nuthins' Guide to Life by Helen Fisher. Now, firstly, I need to say, I read Helen Fisher's, I think it was her debut fiction, Space Hopper, last year. Now, the paperback cover looks like this, and I would not pick that up. I wouldn't. If I saw that in a shop, I would not pick that up. Whereas the hardcover, which is this one, I would. I don't know why paperbacks get such a rough deal. I could probably do a whole video on books where the hardcover is so much better than the paperback cover, and I don't think there's any that are the other way around. However, I really enjoyed I really enjoyed Helen Fisher's writing style, and Space Hopper was this wonderful story about a mother and daughter relationship. It's very fantastical in the way that I believe that she finds a space hopper box. It's been a couple of years since I read it, and I could definitely reread this one, and went back in time, and it was all about how she could see things from a different perspective, and really enjoyed it. So when I saw that the author was coming out with a new book, immediately went onto my wish list. And here it says, Jo loves predictability, but his life is about to become a surprising adventure. Jo Nathan likes the two parts of his name separate, just like his dinner and dessert. Me and Charlie at work sometimes calls him Jo Nuthin, but Jo is far from nothing. Jo is a good friend. He's good at his job, good at making things, and good at following the rules. And he's learning how to do lots of things by himself. Jo's mother knows there are a million things in life he isn't prepared for. While she helps guide him every day, she's also writing notebooks full of advice about the things she hasn't told Jo yet, things he might forget, and answers to questions he hasn't yet asked. Following her wisdom, applying it in his own unique way, this next part of Jo's life is more of a surprise than he expects, because he's about to learn that remarkable things can happen when you leave your comfort zone, and that you can do even the hardest things with a little help from your friends. And I don't know why that makes me choked up. I'm hoping that this mother-son relationship and things like that is as brilliant as the mother-daughter relationship in her last book was. But yeah, that is going on my radar. And before I go on to the last book, I have just received an email that I will be on the blog tour for Sarra Manning's book on the 17th of November. So check out my Instagram for that. And so last but not least for November, this is going to be a little bit of a controversial one, I think. On November the 22nd is Welcome to the Cornish Country Hospital by Jo Bartlett. Now, on paper, this sounds perfect. However, I did DNF her Cornish midwife series because on paper it should have been perfect. Medically type job, seaside town, cozy village vibes. And yet I couldn't get through the first few chapters of the first book because there was so much fat phobia in it. Like, to the point that I have read books and it almost comes part and parcel now with women's fiction, which it shouldn't, especially newer books, where there will be someone on a diet. There will be someone making a comment of how big they'll be if they keep eating all these cream cakes. If, you know, things like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was enough that it made me go, ugh. And as it started, I was like, okay, stone in the shoe, I can carry on. But within the first couple of chapters, it was just like, no, I cannot read this. So this would be me giving Jo Bartlett another chance. Now, this says, the first in a brand new series from best-selling author Jo Bartlett, Welcome to the Cornish Country Hospital. A new start. When Dani Carter moves to Cornwall from London, she hopes it will be the fresh start she desperately needs. She's nervous, but hopefully the change of scene will help her to finally forget her feelings for Lucas, a man she can never be with because he's already engaged to Dani's best friend, Esther. an impossible dilemma. But when Lucas and Esther decide to follow Danny to Cornwall and both announce they'll be working with her at the new St. Piran's Hospital, Danny is thrown into turmoil again. She can't lose Esther, but being near Lucas is getting harder to deal with. Will she have to give up her new life before it's even started? A chance to start again. Throwing herself into work, Danny finds herself drawn to new patient Connie, a woman Danny knows has dark secrets of her own, secrets that are about to be revealed. As the two women form a friendship, Danny begins to realise that letting go of her dreams might be the only way of holding on to the people she loves. And like I say, on paper, that should be a 5-star read. That should be everything that I want in a book. Cosy Cornish town, hospital, friendships, the possibility that this is going to be a long series. But yeah, I just have my reservations because of the last series that I tried from this author. But I'm always willing to give authors a second chance. And hopefully that's what I will be doing with Jo Bartlett. And so they are the books that I'm excited for in November. Are there any that you are excited for? At the moment, there are only a couple of books that I had on my radar for December, and neither of them were kind of standout ones, or I would have put them into this video. There won't be a December releases video because December, if everything goes to plan, I already have a lot of videos planned for December that I'm excited about. And so you won't get one in December. These videos will be back again in January, but stay tuned. I'm hoping that there is a lot coming up on this channel. I don't think I've spoken about it here yet, but a lot is going on personally. I left my job at Morrison's for reasons that I will share in my October low spend year update, and yeah, there's just a lot going on. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe below. I always love reading comments from you guys, and my channel wouldn't still be going if it wasn't for you guys. I always love reading your comments and try and reply to you. I generally, when I release a new video, I try and respond for the first kind of 48 hours to comments within kind of a day, but then on older videos it may take me a little bit longer. But yes, I hope you've enjoyed it, and until next time, look after yourselves. Bye.